Okay, so for this adventure, we need to figure out, well, what is the character going to interact with? And so for that, we're going to go over to the map maker, room contents, and adventure values section on page 9. So the map maker, we made our map. And it says here, when one of the rooms is rolled, use the stats, jobs, abilities, or items to overcome the test. And the player will always begin with room number 1, which will be an empty room. Each room will have a label in the format of a number, a letter / number. So number 4, H5. And we'll talk about what that code means, but it's very intuitive once we get it explained. So the room contents, when selecting an area for the map, it's important to think about the type of adventure and dangers that might be present. The player will set the parameters for the adventure using adventure values. Not every possibility needs to be present on each quest. The default room contents are found below and can be used with any quest. Roll a d6 to discover which area the player has entered. So we've got, on a 1, you get a random encounter, a random room. On a 2, you get a low threat room. A 3 is a high threat room. A 4 is an obstacle. 5 is a magic room. And 6 is a treasure room. So you just roll and you say, okay, it's a 5. I ran into a magic room. So there, I either encounter a magic treasure or some kind of room. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the adventure tables, and I will roll again to see what kind of test and what kind of item or treasure that I run into. So it's really important to understand that this game is extremely customizable, and the adventures become what you want them to be. So you could create your own adventure, you could type it out, you could put it on the front and back of a piece of paper, give it to your friend. They could run a whole adventure with just his paper and another paper with their parameters for their tables, and you don't need the book because you've got this information right here. Okay, so let's continue and let's take a look at adventure values. Now, adventure values are, the tables in this book have a column labeled AV for adventure values, and these are used for assigning a number from 1 to 6 to determine the corresponding test in that area of the map. The AV are built on probability, and the AV, adventure values, the player can control the frequency of challenges. For more variety, assign different AV for all 36 possibilities. If there is a theme or specific encounter test that needs to happen, give that multiple adventure value possibilities to raise the probability of being encountered. A specific adventure value can be frequent as desired. So let's say we've got a really random adventure, then there are 6 sides to the die, so there are 6 different table types. And on each table, there are 6 different sides of the die again, so you've got 36 different probabilities. Well, at that rate, you've got a 2.7% chance of running into every single thing on the table. But let's say that's just too random and you really want to control it more. So let's put each table has only one thing, one type of random enemy, one type of low threat, one type of high threat, one obstacle that's only going to show up on this adventure. Well, now you've got a 17% chance that you're going to run into an obstacle. And you can really customize this so you could have a bunch of different obstacles and very few enemy encounters. Or you could have tons of enemy encounters, or tons of magic rooms, or tons of traps, and have no NPCs. Or maybe it's really just an intellect-based adventure. It's really just heavy on dexterity. And you could really customize this and think about and make the adventure that you want. So we're going to do that in this video. We're going to make our adventure values on our tables in this book. And we're going to make it with a pencil so we can change it later and adjust the way our adventures play. So here's a sample table. In the table above, the adventure value has been set to L1. That's low threat, L1 through 6. So L1 as a dart trap. H3 is a web trap, and L6H6 are fire pits. Using this column allows the player to make changes in the book and eliminates the need to record tables for each adventure. So let's say I roll and I roll a 2, okay? Well, now I'm on the low threat table. So when I roll again, if I roll a 1, then I get L1, which would be a dart trap. And I automatically know exactly what's going on and what I'm facing, okay? When entering a new area, roll to determine the room shape and then roll for doors and exits. Next, roll to determine which table to use. Roll for the contents of the table type. After the table type is determined, the room is now set up for interaction. So you generate your room and you draw it down here, and all you have to really do is just put what room number is it, the letter based on these tables, and then the number of the letter. So is it L1? Well, you know that every time you go in there, there's a dart trap, okay? First room area rules. When beginning the quest, the player is in an empty room area. The next step is to roll the exits using the rules on the next page. Okay. So we've got doors and room shapes. Now these rules are here as well. The turn procedure is right here. The room contents that we just went over are right here. So using these, all you need is a copy of your adventure value tables and your actions and a space to draw and go on your adventure. When a player leaves a room or area, they need to roll for the next area. Use a d6 to determine the room area shape, then the openings, doors, or gates. If a door is locked, a key is needed to open it. Keys are consumed once they are used. The player can try to break down a door or break a door open, but only gets one attempt. If the player fails, they need a key or must look for another path. Once in a new room, roll for room contents. Okay, so we're going to roll and determine the room area shape. So this is just to help you with your drawing. Either you've got first roll is a 1 or 2, it's a corridor. If it's a 3 through 5, it's a room. And so I'm going to roll. Let's just go ahead and put it on over here. We're going to start right here. And this is going to be number 1. Now it's empty. So next what we do is we do our first roll. So we got a 6. A 6 is a room or an area. Okay, so now I roll for how many exits? 1. Okay. So 1 exit and it's unlocked. So I'm just going to draw my next area here. And I'm put an exit there, and I'll put a U for unlocked. Okay. Then I need to do my room encounter contents. So I need to roll my room contents, engage with the room, roll out or under the stat value for success, and I check for effects. But how do I know what's in my room? Well, we're going to skip the shortcuts and backtracking section and the bosses section, and we'll get to those once we find a reason to take a shortcut or a backtrack or fight a boss. These are the adventure tables. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally a bestiary, 6. Okay? Let's talk about how we're going to set this up. Well, we're in a cavern, and we're looking for a lost NPC. So what kind of things do you think would be in a cavern? We've got our trap table, dart traps, trapdoor, log trap, boulder trap, magma, barrier, slide, ambush, web trap, fire pit, and so on and so forth. We've got NPCs. Do we think there are going to be NPCs in here? Maybe an explorer, okay? Maybe, I would say maybe a slide trap, maybe a web trap. We've got obstacles. What kind of obstacles might we find in a cavern? A spider web, a ravine, a windy tunnel, maybe a magic wall, okay? Over here, we've got treasures, maybe some treasures we would find. And our magic items underneath, and then the types of enemies. So let's go ahead and fill out our adventure tables.